Okay, so we have a pretty interesting situation going on in the VTuber community at the moment, and obviously this is to do with a live 2D model kind of artist going after a VTuber that is streaming over on Twitch. Now, essentially, they say, friendly reminder, please do not use my live 2D models for any commercial streaming purposes. Unauthorized usage will be taken seriously. I recently discovered someone violating this rule after I reminded her. She blocked me from viewing her Twitch. Now, yeah, this is pretty interesting. Obviously, as you can see here, this person is streaming Marvel Rivals, whatever, using the model in the corner, which obviously is made by this person they're claiming. And essentially, they put into the chat, hey, why are you using my model? And then they get banned. And that's, yeah, you can see there, they get blocked from seeing it. Now, obviously, this might be due to some kind of auto moderation. Maybe this is due to just the moderators seeing it or something like that, and the moderators not really know much. But I think this has been a pretty big misunderstanding, because obviously this person says, I suppose that says enough about our attitude, so I've decided to make this public as a warning. Please respect creators. Just because I haven't released the files on Twitter yet doesn't mean that you can use them freely. I will find out. Do not use these project files for any form of live streaming. I'm repeating myself. These files are solely for the purpose of riggers to study and learn. The polished illustrations are only to make my workflow smoother. Live stream use is strictly prohibited. So essentially, what's happened here is that this person has released these models out in the open for people to actually learn from. So other kind of artists and riggers can actually test out and, kind of use it as a kind of reference or just a bit of practice, which I think is good. And obviously, it helps out a lot of people that want to use this kind of stuff. But obviously, at the same time, you are opening yourself up to the fact that, you can have people like this who are going to take them and are going to either think that A, they're used for, you can use them for commercial purposes, or B, they will just take it because they know, they're not supposed to use it, but it's free, so they'll just take it anyways. And I think that, obviously some people have been mad at this VTuber, but at the same time, I do think people have also been very skeptical of this person, because if you don't want people to kind of be doing this, I would say don't, hand out your models openly. Like, maybe have a more private system behind it and then just deal with the kind of issues that go on, individually. Because if you release it just to the public where everyone can get it, obviously you're going to have a ton of people like this who go ahead and take them. I think it would just be easier to say, hey, if you want this model, hey, if you want this, if you want that, then go to my DMs and ask me and I'll give it to you, in private. So then at least if someone does come out with this kind of stuff, then you can kind of track it back to one of the people that you handed out this model to, which, would be beneficial to you. And I think that it will help, obviously, people that do need it, but it also, stop this kind of stuff from happening. So I think they could have, went about this in a much better way. Now, obviously, people were also concerned in the fact of saying, while this was not cool of them, I think sending them an email or a DM would have been better than just exposing them on stream. But that's just my opinion. They say, actually, I did send them a DM before mentioning it on stream, but I didn't get any replies. So I brought it up during the stream instead. Now, essentially, yeah, they say, oh, then fair. I hope people stop doing such things. It sucks. Now, essentially, this got 1.2 million views, by the way, 11,000 likes. And again, I do support the point of, like, it shouldn't have been stolen in the first place. But I do think this person should have done a little bit more in terms of protecting their own models. They say, what was the point of buying VTuber models and then not using it for streaming, using it on Discord calls? And then they, kind of clarify again, it's literally for helping out other artists and other kind of modelers and stuff like that. And people are saying you'd released it already. Was this model free? They said, I've seen posts basically where you send a link in the Twitch chat, which it doesn't look like it was a link. So again, they said, I didn't send any link. I only typed a message that said, hello, this is a serious warning. My project files still clearly state that you're not allowed to be used for any kind of live stream or commercial use. You have violated this rule. Maybe my tone came off as a bit like, standoffish, which again, it definitely does. So I can understand why the moderators did ban them and why they got banned from the chat, because, if you didn't know about any of this going on in the background, you would just think that maybe it was some person just trying to, annoy them or whatever. So you would just ban it straight up, because again, it's just like, okay, just shut up kind of thing. It seemed like quite angry, and, I could see from moderator's point of view why you would ban them. Yeah, so essentially you can see here, this is the person that actually used the model. Now, don't go after them or anything. I feel like they are a genuine person that doesn't want to, cause this kind of stuff. I don't think they actually meant to. Looking at some of these replies, they said, I'd already talked to them in DMs. Such a lovely person and artist. Go support them on this situation. Don't fall for stuff. I don't know if this is the same person. But again, I feel like this has been a pretty crazy situation in general. And they said, I'm truly sorry for all of this misunderstanding. I'd like to clear it up a little bit because I'm getting a lot of hate after I tried to explain. Here's it in a little bit more detail. And essentially, they've written a whole PDF here. This is new, by the way. You know, not a Google Doc this time, it's a PDF, and they're saying, you know, what's actually going on. How did I get it? Well, I got it from a page called Ripper Store. I did the payment via PayPal and talked to this person on Discord and paid for it. They usually send a message if there's any trouble with it, with the rules of it, like, hey, you can't stream this one, or hey, this model's not for VTuber groups. But, you know, apparently they didn't here. Obviously, they're saying, also, speaking of Ripper Stores, this is a place where they usually sell, gift, share VR chat assets. But sometimes you can buy and get live 2D models from here. Here is a picture, and obviously they share a lot of kind of screenshots from the place. And they say, I'm a person who constantly buys models out of booth. Here is proof, which again, you know, is obviously a pretty popular thing to do. And apparently, yeah, they've been messaging this person. They said, so I was like, okay, another model with the usual rules, right? As I did say, they just sent me this after I paid for it. They deleted their messages, so here's another one before they did delete it. I didn't know anything until I got the messages from people saying mean things in English, and I didn't know, and I know I said that I banned Unreal 20 for a link. I didn't have any sleep, so I got confused. Again, they also brought up the DM here, and obviously they said, oh, well, maybe they're bots. They checked Twitter and checked the DMs. I didn't block them before that. They just didn't see their message, which I think is definitely valid. Sometimes I don't see Twitter messages because it's lost in like the message request things, so I never actually see it come up. But again, there's proof of them actually asking, hey, this is a serious warning type thing. And yeah, you can see here, they provided proof of, you know, they didn't send a link. They just said, hello, this is a serious warning, which, yeah, obviously they're saying, why are you using somebody else's model without their permission, scummy, which I think, honestly, I think, you know, this is a case of this person didn't know, and I think it was someone else actually selling their models on this site and actually giving it to them, pretending it was their own models that they're handing out to people, when in actual fact, it's from this person in particular who they've been handing out. So again, it seems like, you know, after this, I talked to Unreal on DMs about what happened. I paid for a model on Discord. I don't even have a Bilibili account since I don't even know what Bilibili is exactly. As you may know, I'm from Mexico, so I had no clue. I paid for a model. I used the model. I didn't know the rules of it, so I had no clue until the messages on my chat started popping up. It said I started getting a lot of hate for buying a model. I had no clue it was even for rigging. I sent those pictures to Unreal 20 just so they know who I got it from. The thing is that this is not the only one person. There's like a whole gang of people out there reselling stuff, and it's a massive problem, and I wasn't aware of it until this happened. So yeah, it seems like these people are just kind of reselling stuff. Now, it's good to see that Unreal has been in the kind of DMs of this person, and they've been trying to talk it out, I think. I'm not really sure if they've made up or not. Obviously, they're saying, also, speaking of not what to do, I've also found out that a model I paid off on Etsy was also resold. It was this bunny one, and fun fact, I don't even know who the original artist is yet. So essentially, yeah, they've been caught in a lot of this. They say, I'll try my best to cooperate with Unreal 20 as far as I can, but I had something just to move on with my own things on peace, since I was being seen as a bad person, which, yeah, I definitely think, you know, this has been kind of spun in a pretty negative light. And I find it kind of weird how this person in particular is leaving this post up, especially after they contacted about it in DMs. You know, obviously they got their attention, and, you know, after the situation was explained, me personally, I would take down this post. Obviously, it's got 1.2 million views. They've been getting a lot of hate off it. You know, obviously it could serve as a kind of warning to other people that, you know, try to do this kind of stuff. And again, that's what they kind of, you know, frame it as. They say a friendly reminder. But at the same time, it does come off as like a massive kind of like hate piece on this one person, which again would have been valid if, you know, maybe they were doing it maliciously, but it doesn't seem like they were. So honestly, me personally, I would have taken it down, maybe made another post and said, hey, we sorted it out, but please do not use my models in the future, etc., etc., and explain the actual situation rather than leave this post up. Now, I don't know why they've left it up. Maybe it's because it's got 1.2 million views, or, you know, maybe they want to make a point. But at the same time, I do think it's still a little bit weird at the end of the day, you know? Obviously, yeah, I feel like this person does need to kind of keep a hold of their models a little bit better, so the fact that they don't get stolen so easily, and, you know, just do it through DMs, do it through something else, so that you could, you know, actually track where this is coming from, and you can hand it out individually, rather than letting pretty much anybody buy it, which, again, people will just go ahead and resell it, which is crazy. And obviously, yeah, it seems like just a massive misunderstanding. I hope Hannah's all right as well from all of this, because obviously I feel like they genuinely didn't mean to just take it and, you know, yoink it. I think they just kind of got fooled by someone who was reselling, which is pretty terrible at the moment. But yeah, let me know down in the comments what you guys think about the situation. You know, what do you think? Do you think that, you know, they deserve this hate or not? Do you think that Hannah knew about, you know, all of this stuff? I don't think they did, but hey, maybe you have a different kind of opinion on that. But yeah, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe. Also go to Games Up, use my code CASA, get 10% off. Again, they've got a ton of really cool stuff over there. I definitely recommend checking it out. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.